Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Tucker Carlson has not been doing well, despite that he really does want you to think that he's doing fantastic. Since being booted from Fox, he now has to do his show on X. I mean, it's Twitter, and it's pathetic. It's actually ridiculously pathetic and hilarious. And but he still pulls, some weight. Mango Mussolini here was scared to go to the debates because everybody's going to make fun of him for being a criminal. And as we wait today to see him get booked into the Fulton, the Georgia jail, I decided, why don't we just watch this special edition of why El Trumpo is not at the debates, embarrassing himself like all the rest of the candidates did. So let's go.
It's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee.
Sure, there, Tucker.
Mr. President, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do them, but you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points. And, some of them are at 1 and 0 and 2. And I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that?
The shade, the absolute shade. Why should I have to be harassed? You see, I'm leading anyway, but why should I have to be harassed? I mean, the thing is, too, it's so special boy syndrome that he's trying to play up of like, well, I'm going to win anyway, so who gives a fuck, blah, 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 blah. Everybody ends up having to do debates. Everybody does. It's just what we fucking do. It's crazy. Says Tucker's on X, can you add the browser's logo? No, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. I don't want to invoke any kind of disgusting fucking sex between these two freaks.
And a network that isn't particularly friendly to me, frankly. They were backing Ron DeSanctimonious like crazy, and now they've given up on him. I mean, it's a lost cause.
That's true.
It reminded me very much of 2016. In 2016, I went through the same stuff and had to fight them all the way, and then they became very friendly after I won, or just about when I was winning. But
you know what? I'm going to hand it to him in that one. He's absolutely fucking right. Absolutely fucking right. All those people, they all threw shade at him, and then suddenly they were all sucking his dick. It's true. It's totally true. It's because they're all spineless. I fucking hate Trump. I do. I think he's a piece of shit. Not the worst president, but close. Reagan and Bush are objectively worse. But I will give him this. He at least has more of a sense of self than these other spineless pieces of shit. It's just, it's something.
But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one poll, I'm leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it? And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate, I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
So when I'm in the screen, I can't, the stream alerts don't pop up, but I did see one that I do want to respond to. Thank you very much, Goth Parrot. The roundup is not this weekend. It's going to be next Wednesday. It's just bad timing. Sorry about that. But yeah. So Trump watching holiday. I think no better way to watch coverage of Mango Man invading my city while I shelter in place from the chaos. How bad? I'm curious how bad you think it's gonna get in Atlanta today when he's booked, because I don't know. I haven't seen any coverage of people like freaking out and protesting. So yeah, we'll see.
I did. I'm grateful that you did. It's interesting though, because you spent a lot of your career in television.
Yeah.
You had a top show in television on NBC. But you don't feel the need now running for president to do television, obviously. Do you think television is declining?
Well, according to a poll that I guess we just saw, it just came out where it's down like 30, 35%, but I think they were referring to cable. I think cable's down because it's lost credibility. MSNBC, or as they say, MSDNC, is so bad. It's so
burn,
wrong what they write and what they do and what they say. It's it's fake news, as I said. I think I came up with that term. I hope I did because it's a good one. It's not tough enough anymore. It's corrupt news. Really what you do is call it corrupt news, but somehow that doesn't play as nicely. But it is corrupt news. So you have MSNBC and you have CNN, who's absolutely doing no ratings at all. I mean, they're dead. But they're doing none because they don't have credibility. They really don't have credibility. Fox is way down, as you know. And the good old days.
Who has that's what I'm curious about when people talk about this kind of thing. But I mean, lots of people do. Well, that news channel doesn't have credibility. Well, that news channel doesn't have credibility. Blah, 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 blah. Well, which one does have credibility? I don't know. I've been so curious to try and figure this out for a long time now. I don't know what anybody is referring to when they're talking about not having credibility anymore. It's so weird to me.
Are long ago. I will say this: it could come back, but they just don't have a lot of credibility. Tucker, you know that perhaps better than anybody.
Sure.
I think it was a terrible move getting rid of you. You were number one on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate or competition.
Probably not. And also the way impressions are rated on the X app. X, god damn, that shit is so fucking cringe. It's so teenage kid. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, we're watching the debate on X. Anyway, or the fucking Trump on it. But the way impressions are scheduled, like even if you just scroll past it, it's a view. It's impossible to fucking know.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean?
Well, I don't want to really use names, but it wouldn't matter too much. A guy like, I call him Ada Hutchinson. It's Asa, but I call him Ada.
Why do you call him Ada?
I could tell you, but I don't want to get myself in a little trouble. But he's weak and pathetic, and he was, I never understood the guy, never knew him. He was the governor of Arkansas, not a very popular guy. I don't know how but that state is such a great state. The people are so incredible in that state, and they love me and I love them. How does this guy get elected governor of Arkansas? But he's nasty always and has been.
You know what? I love the shade. Let them fight. Let them chew each other. Let them tear each other to shreds. I don't give a fuck.
A guy like Chris Christie, the guy left with a 8%, think of it, 8% approval rating in New Jersey. Now he's running for president. And he runs solely on the basis, let's get Trump. He's like a savage maniac. He's like a lunatic. And that's all he talks about. His poll numbers are very, very low. He's about...
Yeah, I really liked how Chris Christie went after Trump, but then I didn't like how after Trump got the presidency, he basically just got on his knees and choked on his fucking dick, of course. Of course.
2%.
What's he like? You know him well.
No, I've been friendly with him over the years, but I couldn't give him a job because I just never trusted him very much. I was just never one of his people that really trusted him. I never gave him the job, and that's one of the reasons he feels so hurt and so betrayed. And I understand that. I really do. I understand it, but I never gave him. He wanted to be different things. He was looking at different elements of the administration, and I decided I didn't want to do it. And now I'm glad I did because you see, but we had some great people. I had great people. We'll have even better people if we do this because now I know Washington. Before I didn't know Washington. But guys like Bill Barr were terrible. I mean, they were, I would say, Bushies. I say that with respect to the Bush family, but they were Bushies, and it doesn't work out for us.
It was clear. This is.
It's I think, I'm not sure. We'd have to fact check this one. I'm almost certain that the Trump administration holds a fucking record for the most amount of people that they fired in 4 years. I think that's accurate. I think that's true.
This is kind of far afield, but it was just interesting. I read Barr's account of his time. He wrote a book about it,
right?
His autobiography, and in it he lies about Jeffrey Epstein's death. Clearly lies.
Your good friend Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. Donald Trump. Your good friend Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I don't know. I will say that, he was a fixture in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I don't know what Barr said about it either. I have no idea what he said. What did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He seemed really healthy when he's helping me tag Team Ivanka.
He said he killed himself and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public.
Well,
and they hid it. And why are they doing that? And clearly Barr knew. But why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of...
Ooh, new lore just dropped. What's the over-under on Barron? Because we know Ivanka is Barron's mom. We know that. What's the over-under on his biological dad actually being Trump or Jeffrey Epstein? There you go. The lore deepens.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either, okay? He said he did, and he pretended he did, but he didn't. McSwain, the U.S. attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, said Barr just wouldn't let him do it. It was crazy. Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. They were going to impeach him. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
It's not a big moment in history. Yeah. But they said, we're going to impeach. They play a much rougher game, the left, the lunatics.
No, you didn't know that? You didn't know that Ivanka is Barron's mom? Come on, man. Come on. We all know that. Come on.
And they were going to impeach Bill Barr, and he was petrified. Now, how do you not get impeached? Don't do any of this stuff. But he didn't do the job there. I don't know what he did with Epstein, but possibly he didn't.
Do you think it's possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a life with, beautiful homes and beautiful everything, and he all of a sudden he's incarcerated and not doing very well. I would say that he did.
Man, I wonder what Trump will do if he actually has to go to prison. Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting?
But there are those people, there are many people, I think you're one of them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed. He knew a lot on a lot of people.
He was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all. I believe everything I hear. But yeah, the closer you look into it, I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, your Attorney General clearly lied about the Epstein death.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Why?
He was certainly. It wasn't well done. They had no cameras. They had no.
Wait, you really need me to explain the whole Trump and Ivanka and Barron? Look, listen, okay, all right. No, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Nah. Is what it is, man. Is what it fucking is.
Anything. Everybody was sleeping, and a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it, but I can tell you a case could be made either way. But it certainly wasn't the most well-run place.
So the reason I'm asking you is I'm looking at the trajectory since 2015 when you got into politics, for real, and then won. It started with protests against you, massive protests, right. Organized protests by the left, and then it moved to impeachment twice,
right?
And now indictment. I mean, the next stage is violence. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you?
Okay, look, I'm going to try and strongman this argument, all right? Because I heard that Tucker said this, but I haven't seen this clip yet. And this fucking face, dude, is so genius. So genius. Confused squirrel. Incredible. Wild stuff. Okay. If for some reason he beats all of these indictments, which he will not, this idea that somebody is then going to assassinate him, who's they, Tucker? Who's they? I'm not a conspiracy person, but do you think they might fucking do a murder on you, bro? They might plop, force you to suicide with 2 in the back of the head? What the fuck, dude? Come on, man.
Honestly.
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick. You have great people in the Democrat Party. You have great people that are Democrats. Most of the people in our country are fantastic, and I'm representing everybody. I'm not just Republicans or conservatives. Right. I represent everybody. I'm the president of everybody. But I've seen what they do. I've seen the lengths that they go to. When they make up the Russia, when that's exposed and
Russia.
They go down, and Barr should have gone after them, and other people should have gone after. And they did very late, because the Durham report came out. It was fairly good. It could have been a lot tougher, I guess, but it was fairly good. But it explained how corrupt it was. I'll tell you who did a great job was the Inspector General Horowitz.
He just is breezing past that whole. I'm surprised that he's not like trying to play up this whole idea that people might want to kill him. I mean, you know, Trump being more moderate than Tucker. That's interesting, you know? It was that Tucker wrote a memo to the head of Fox News. He was tired of Trump and now has him on the show. Well, yeah. These people don't fucking believe anything. Like, it's wild. He did get slapped with a RICO charge, and those are hard to thwart. And they apparently have a very compelling case. People are starting to flip on him. People are willing to testify. Like, yeah, man, no, like this is pretty fucking bad. Yeah, and it's weird too that we're not hearing right now because we're recording this video while we're waiting for him to be indicted in Georgia, and that I haven't heard really any definitive time frame yet. I'm really curious, like, what's the over-under that he, like, is fleeing the country? What if Barron is actually Vince McMahon's... Oh, and Ivanka's threesome love child. Maybe.
Did a phenomenal report. You didn't have to go to do it. He did it on Comey and on, I guess, McCabe and some others, and it was a vicious, hard... It was basically a true report, how bad they are. But these people are sick people. These are people that... I think they hate our country. You want to know the truth. When you see open borders, when you see these policies that they have, and so many other things, it's so sad to see. You know, we have a country that's very fragile right now. I've never seen, I will say, look, I ran in 16, which was 15, but I ran in 16, election in 16, and there was tremendous spirit. In 20, there was even more spirit. We got millions and millions more votes. You know, it wasn't even a contest. People said, well, what'd you think of 20? I said, we did much better. We did. You got to base it on the number of votes. We got many more votes in 20 than we did in 16.
Yeah, but Joe got more. And the thing is, too, it doesn't matter about votes because you never won the popular vote. That's not how it works, bubba. Electoral college, my guy. Electoral college. But, you know, this is just, he was supposed to turn himself in at 11. Well, he's about 47 minutes late. And, okay, I'm looking over at my my live feed over here, just seeing, like, how we're doing. All right, here we go.
But the election was rigged. It was a rigged election. And with COVID, they use COVID to cheat in a lot of different things, and we have so much on it. It's like so easy. But we had judges that didn't want to look. We had people didn't want to get involved. They called you, he's a conspiracy theorist if you say anything about the election. But I have never seen spirit like there is right now. Even coming down here, just the people on the road that are just absolutely going crazy. And the reason is, I think they like me, and I know they love my policies. I hope they like me too. You know, a lot of people say they don't like me, but they like my policies. I think they like me. But I have never seen spirit like it is right now. And the reason is because crooked Joe Biden is so bad.
Crooked Joe Biden. He's getting winded talking. I know he's not well. He has not been physically well for a very long time. He is not in good health. Neither he nor Biden should be anywhere near the presidency. They are too fucking old. They're too fucking old. Yeah, I know he doesn't have any policies. He's full of shit.
He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but, you know, you never know. But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. You know, I don't do two people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. That was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy. And I used it for Joe because it's crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete.
Dude, come on, man. You are old as fucking falling apart. You have to constantly get injections from goddamn doctors to be able to operate. Like, you remember how we started noticing these patterns the last year of his presidency, where at certain points of the day, it looked like he could barely function, And then like there was some press conference that he was supposed to give, and he was like fading. And then they went for a commercial break, and he came back, and he's like, and he's all fucking jacked up and shit. Yeah.
Look at him. He can't walk to the helicopter. He walks. He can't lift his feet out of the grass. You know, it's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. You know, those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces.
Yeah.
You lift them up. He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. You know, this beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach.
Can you imagine if this guy like lost to FDR, you know? Look at him, crippled, can't even stand, has to be wheeled around. Very low energy, very weak, you know? I think he looks terrible in that wheelchair. Just looks terrible.
Looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. You know, sand is not that easy to walk through, but when he walks through it, he can't walk through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. You're supposed
Then why are we talking about it? What is the fucking point, dude?
to be working. You're supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that. You could do that very easily. I believe you could do that I don't believe he could do it because he's just incompetent. But that's a war that should end immediately, not because of one side or the other, because hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. Can you imagine you're in an apartment house and rockets are going into that building and blowing it up and knocking it down? And
that's terrible.
who can? Why should anything? Why should anybody? Human beings, these are human, whether they're Russian or Ukrainian or whatever they are. It's got to be stopped, and it can be stopped very easily. It would have never started if I were president. It would have never started.
So
Yeah, because I say so. Because I say so, and things that I say happen. Yeah, I know he is a Putin puppet for sure. Like it's well known. But like, yeah, there's no scenario where I think Trump could have convinced Putin not to do it.
back to Biden, I'm interested. So you think he's failing? He obviously is failing. I think it's clear to everybody. But that would make Kamala Harris the candidate?
Well, not really. I mean, I guess they'd have maybe a free-for-all. A lot of people say she has to remain for certain reasons the candidate. She has to. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that other people would stand for it. She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
But
she seems pretty senile, too.
she speaks in rhyme.
Oh my God. Like talking to this absolute vapid, self-absorbed dumb fuck who's all pumped up on designer drugs. Like, yeah, I think she might be, she might.
You know, it's weird. It's weird. But she has bad moments. And
In rhyme? What do you...
well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. This is not a president of the United States future. And I think they probably have some kind of a primary and other people will get involved.
Newsom, right? I
Could be. I mean, you know, I always got along well with him, believe it or not. But could be him, could be somebody else.
Newsom would fucking annihilate Trump. Like, I don't even like Newsom as far as like his policies, his social policies. But there's a few things that you really have to appreciate when it comes to Newsom. Number one, the dude knows how to make money, more so than Trump. He is a vastly more successful businessman than Trump, insofar as he knows how to make a state make money. Usually at kind of the suffering of the people, but you know that's what neo-corporatist center-right Democrats do. But he's also sharp. Newsom is sharp as a motherfucker, and he would annihilate this doofus in a fucking debate. Again, I don't even like Newsom. Think he's a prick, but he would fucking rip him apart.
He's got a big load on his shoulders because you look at California, what's happened. But I don't know if the American people really, the people that vote for him, I don't even know if they care. You know, you look at so many of the things that are going on, and people don't seem to be. In the old days, if you had a bad record, it meant a lot. Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, he looks good. He's a nice-looking guy, speaks well. But Biden, every time you watch him talking, it's like he's walking on eggs. You're waiting for him to collapse. And he almost always does. And I got to know the leaders of all of the countries, essentially, but the big ones.
Jesus Christ, can you be coherent? And he's on something. He's on something, man. He cannot stick to one fucking topic. He's just plodding along, just blah, 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 blah.
And the bigger, the tougher the leader. You know, it's like sort of, I guess maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But I got to know President Xi of China and Putin and Kim Jong-un, North Korea. Did a great job with North Korea, kept us out of a nuclear war. We would have 40,000 dead soldiers right now. They'd drop a nuke right on top of the military base. But we have 40,000 soldiers over there.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, nah. All of this is just horseshit. I'm just fascinated by how obvious it is that he's on fucking drugs. Anybody who's done a lot of drugs can tell you when somebody is gacked up, dude.
And I did great. I got along with him great. That's a positive. You know, the press said, he said nice things about Kim Jong-un. I also said horrible things at the beginning. Horrible enough that he wanted to talk. And we talked, and we met in Singapore. We met actually twice. And we had unbelievable meetings. I know him very well. We were in great shape with him.
What do you think he and Xi and Putin think of Biden?
I think they can't believe it. I think they probably say this is some kind of a system. You know, they had great respect for our country. They respected me. They had great respect for our country when I was there.
Really?
Every one of them. Look, if you go to North Korea, you take a look at what happened. You know, the Olympics was dead. South Korea spent billions on the Olympics. Nobody was going to go. They didn't want to get blown up. They called me and they said,
What? Nobody wanted to get blown up. Look, it's simple. Nobody wanted to get blown up. That's why nobody went to the South Korean Olympics. And how did you fix that?
We are going to let the Olympics proceed. This is North Korea. I said, you should go into the Olympics. Put your athletes in. It wasn't like, you know, they were big on athletes because, you know.
Famine.
But they went in, and they actually participated.
Famine.
And within about 2 days, the entire thing was sold out. And if it wasn't me, that would have never happened. But I got along very well with him, and that's a positive thing. He does have massive nuclear power, by the way. And if Hillary would have gotten in, or if the Obama thought process continued, it would have been a nuclear war, absolutely, with North Korea. He was expecting to go into a war, and it would have been a nuclear war.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Really, I saved us from that thing that was totally going to happen. I swear. It totally was going to happen. I swear it was, which is why I'm taking credit for the fact that I saved us from nuclear war. Okay. All right. Okay, Grandpa. Okay.
So do you think the rest of the world looks on at Biden and thinks someone else has got to be running the government?
Well, somebody else has to be. I don't think he's capable of doing anything. Look, when I debated him, I said, how come, and this was in front of probably not a friend of yours, Chris Wallace. He was the moderator.
Not a friend.
I said, why is it he wants to be Mike, but he doesn't have the talent? It's one of those
bitchy little man.
He wanted to be his father, but he didn't have the talent of his father. Was great. His father,
little fussy man.
His father interviewed me in 60 Minutes. It was actually a 10. Can you believe it?
No, I totally believe. His father had talent, at least.
I may have been the only guy that he gave a good 60 Minutes to. He was rough.
Really?
His father was tough. He was great, though. He was great at what he did. But Chris Wallace was so upset. He was guarding this guy who wouldn't do a show, by the way. You know, he wouldn't do. I figured. I didn't mind Chris Wallace because Biden wouldn't do a show. And it was very obvious. You know, he kept asking him, but he wouldn't do the show. So I figured he's got to like me. But he came from a different planet. But remember when I asked the question, why is it that the mayor of Moscow's wife is allowed to give you $3.5 million? Don't forget, that was brought up.
I don't remember what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what? Is this a thing that was like widely reported? Because I phased out for that like 5 days where people gave a shit or something. I don't know.
Now it's brought up all the time, but that was brought up by me long before anyone ever heard of it. I said, the mayor of Moscow's wife.
This is not a parody. No. But it is funny. I did see somebody made the comment of like, if you were to do a parody of like Tucker talking to Trump, it would sound exactly like it really is, like the reality of it.
Giving you $3.5 million. What did you do to deserve $3.5 million? To Biden. And Chris Wallace said, this has nothing to do with the debate. I mean, he fought.
He got it the way of the question.
No, it was crazy. And I said, well, wait a minute. He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Now, people forget that, but if you go back and take a look, you will see. And Chris Wallace didn't want me to ask that question. I said, I think it's a very appropriate question. It turned out to be much more appropriate than people thought.
What? What in the fuck, man? Like, Jesus. Okay. A lot of this is just completely fucking incoherent. I do not fucking get this shit. I do not get it. Oh my God.
Amazing. So do you have a preference in, assuming you're the Republican nominee and all goes as you plan it to go, do you have a preference in who you run against?
In many ways, I'd love to run against him because his record's so bad. You know, it's still horrible when you look at inflation and everything else, but
that Biden didn't cause.
Others also have very bad records. I mean, California's a bad record, so, you know, should it be Gavin or should it be somebody else? When I look at San Francisco, what's happened to that incredible city? That was one of the greatest cities in the world just a short while ago, and now it's very sad when you look at it. Los Angeles.
I was just in San Francisco. Doing great. San Francisco is doing great. Are there a lot of homeless there? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. And is it a problem? Yeah, sure is. But that's also not the entirety of San Francisco. Most of San Francisco is doing really, really well. Really well. It's gorgeous. It is thriving. There's a lot of money being made there. It's some of the most like wildly blossoming new technologies are all over that city. It's really incredible. It's really, really cool.
Every city, practically, all the Democrat-run cities. You know, Republican-run cities are doing very nicely because they arrest people when you have crimes. And they don't go after political candidates because they think it's good. You know, I mean, it's like been amazing. My poll numbers are the highest I've ever had. But because people understand it.
Can I just ask you, that gets back to my original question. So if the protest didn't work, you got elected anyway. Yeah. Impeachment didn't work twice, obviously.
I mean, well, no. He was impeached. Being impeached means you were impeached. It doesn't mean you were forced out or anything. You were impeached. You were impeached. That's not anything anybody can take away. He can't be like, I wasn't impeached. I was exonerated. I beat it. No, motherfucker, you were impeached. That's what it means.
Indictment is not working.
He's going to be indicted for the fourth time today, and none of those cases have been cleared yet. Sorry.
Your poll numbers go up. When they raided Mar-a-Lago in August of last year, your numbers went up. They can indict you 20 times, and you're not gonna lose the Republican primary because of that.
Well, so it makes it look even more ridiculous. I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy.
I don't know.
But they're counterproductive. So if you chart it out, it's an escalation, is what I'm saying. So what's next? After, try to put you in prison for the rest of your life, that's not working. So, don't they have to kill you now?
Don't they have to? He's bringing it back to the assassination thing. Tucker desperately wants to talk about how Trump is just going to get gacked in the back of the head by some CIA assassin. It's so weird, dude. Calm down.
I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are. And I'm not sure I would have said this 10 years ago, but they get it. They really get it. When somebody gets indicted, your poll numbers go down. When somebody gets indicted, you announce, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be leaving to spend time with my family and to fight for the rest of my life on this stuff.
But you are fighting right now. You're desperately trying to become president so you can pardon yourself, so you can avoid going to jail. That's the only option he has at this point. Like every single month that this goes on, the situation for him becomes more and more grim. They want to paint it as he's just beating all of it, but that's not what's happening.
But you're out of politics. I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's horrible when you look and you look at what they're doing.
It was bullshit. I'm so sick of this world. Everyone turn against me.
The boxes hoax, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do exactly that. He's not covered, and he's got 25 times the number of boxes.
Nope.
And he's got them stored in Chinatown. He's got them stored in a flimsy garage underneath his Corvette.
Nope. None of that is true.
At Penn, and by the way, at Penn, he gets millions of dollars. China pays this guy millions of dollars. See, I think he's the most corrupt president we've ever had. And he also has the distinction of being the most incompetent. And I believe both. I mean, he's both incompetent and corrupt.
So
and
who
I
is running the
actually
government?
believe he's compromised because China knows so much about him. They know where the money comes from. They know where it is, who paid it, and they probably paid it. Well, they do pay Penn, and he gets $1 million. I think he takes $999,000 because keeps it a little bit under $1 million, like by $1. But he, in many ways, is a Manchurian candidate.
What does that have to do with anything? Like, why would they want to keep it under $1 million? Is there a special figure that if it hits $1 million, it like becomes public or something, or that like then it's breaking the law or something? Because I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Pretty sure, buddy.
We have a Manchurian candidate, and he's afraid to tell Russia to get out of Cuba. He's afraid to tell China to get out of Cuba.
He does not know what a Manchurian candidate means.
China now is building, think of this, China is building military installations in Cuba. The Cuban population of Miami is not too happy because they're never going to be able to go back. And you don't even hear about it. And the worst culprit is the press, the media, because normally, when I first heard that China's building installations in Cuba, and installations means military installations, okay, they said just some communication.
I have bad news for you, dude. China is building ports and manufacturing facilities all over the world. All over Central America, South America, Africa. Like, they're all over the place. The thing that we should have been doing? Cutting deals and like trying to expand influence, and instead we're just hypnotized by all this political dog shit. Yeah. They're just doing what we should be doing. It's ridiculous.
They did that on the islands with Japan. They took the island, they started this massive construction, and they told everybody, including the Japanese have to be very careful. They told everybody that this is a housing development. They're going to build a housing development. And I said, how come the runway is 20,000 feet long? Private jets need 4,000 feet. They don't need 20,000 feet. The big ones need 20,000 feet. They don't even need 20. And I looked at the runway. I said, that's the largest runway ever built, both in width and length, for a housing development. There's nobody that has a plane that big that you would have a runway that's
Why is China
fantastic.
allowed to conduct imperialism in our hemisphere?
Well, yeah, and it's far beyond Cuba. It's all over South America.
Yeah, in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Tucker wants us to unironically be Team America World Police. America! Fuck yeah! Gonna kick China's ass out of Cuba! That's gonna go well.
So we built a thing called the Panama Canal. We lost 35,000 people to the mosquito, malaria.
Yeah.
We lost 35,000 people building. We lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito. Vicious. They had to build under nets. It was one of the true.
Okay, a lot of people died building the Panama Canal. Like, a lot.
True great wonders of the world. As he said, one of the 9 wonders of the world. No, it was one of the 7. It happened a little while ago, It says 9 wonders of the world. You could make 9 wonders. He would have been better off if he stuck with the 9 and just said, yeah, I think it's 9. But this is one of the true 7 wonders of the world. And you take a look at the Panama Canal. It was such an incredible engineering marvel. We sold it under Jimmy Carter. We sold it to Panama for $1. The following day, they quadrupled the amount of money that ships had to pay to get across.
Yeah.
They didn't lose one ship. And now they've made it much bigger, and now they've widened it. They've doubled it, right? They've more than doubled it. and it's one of the most profitable things. Any time it's just incredible, right? We gave it away for $1. China now controls it.
No. Okay. First of all, a lot of fucking things happened with Panama, including an invasion, because our paid-for CIA operative went rogue and started working with the fucking drug cartels. So we had to invade the fucking country to knock his ass out of power. We had to infringe upon the sovereign rights of Panama. We had to maintain a zone of control where we profited massively while we were in control of that canal. We made a lot of fucking money for a long time, all the way up until we decided to give everything back, slowly dissolving the zone of control and then turning over the military bases. I know, I was there. I lived in fucking Panama. And also, China is not in control of it. China is doing business with Panama. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Because it's smart. Oh my God. This is insane. Absolutely insane. All right, well, anyway, this is part one. We'll get back to watching some more of this here in like another video or something. But yeah, I got to get updated on the on his Georgia indictment case soon.